In this incident, a delivery van approached a railway-level crossing just as the warning signals activated and the barriers began to close. Rather than stop, the driver attempted to beat the barriers, driving forward in hopes of clearing the crossing quickly, but the gap closed faster than expected, and the van became trapped directly on the tracks. The driver tried frantically to maneuver the vehicle clear, but there was not enough time. An oncoming train, arriving at full speed, struck the van. The force of the impact destroyed the vehicle's rear and caused widespread debris at the crossing. Miraculously, the van driver escaped without serious injury, and passengers or crew on the train were unharmed. However, the destruction to the vehicle and damage to the crossing infrastructure was total. Investigators later described the collision as a textbook example of how ignoring signals and barriers at a crossing can end very badly. This event makes it clear: never treat a railway crossing like a regular intersection, and never try to beat a closing barrier. The signals and barriers exist for one reason: to protect road users from trains that cannot stop quickly. In a recent incident captured on video, a truck hauling a heavy loader came to a stop directly on a set of railway tracks. Shortly after, the train collided with the truck and loader, violently dislodging the heavy machinery from the rails. The loader was thrown off track, and debris was scattered near waiting vehicles and road infrastructure. While infrastructure and vehicles suffered significant damage, no fatalities or serious injuries were reported. This event highlights a critical rule for heavy load transport and recovery operations: never use railway tracks, even temporarily, for loading, unloading, or vehicle recovery. Railway crossings are not safe parking zones, and a stopped or slow-moving heavy load on the tracks can quickly turn into a hazard if a train approaches. On the evening of November 13, 2023, a foreign car approached a level crossing on Montajnikov Street in Yekaterinburg. At that moment, a commuter train was traveling along the tracks. The train made contact with the vehicle, causing significant mechanical damage. This incident serves as a reminder that traffic signals at railway crossings are critical safety tools. On the 1st of May 2025, in the small town of Poronin, a car approached a level crossing. From video shared publicly by the train operator, you can clearly see that the train could not stop in time. It struck the front of the car as the vehicle was still on the rails. The force of the impact was severe. The car sustained heavy damage. This accident shows why no railway crossing, even one that looks familiar, should ever be treated lightly. Late at night, a tow truck was engaged in a recovery mission. A pickup truck with a damaged rear axle needed to be hauled. Unfortunately, the loaded tow truck and its attached vehicle remained on the tracks. The freight train collided with the vehicle combination. The impact destroyed the tow truck and the pickup it was carrying, ripping fences and scattering debris. Thankfully, the drivers and recovery crew had already exited the vehicles before the train came, so no lives were lost, though the material losses were total. This accident highlights a critical rule: never stop, slow down, or attempt vehicle recovery on railway tracks, not even temporarily. Regardless of how minor the repair or how quick the tow, railway tracks are no place for roadside operations. If your vehicle breaks down near a crossing, pull well clear of the tracks before calling for help. Tow trucks and heavy vehicles must always check clearance first, and if the load is oversized or unstable, wait for a safer location. In Brasilia, a public transport bus was approaching a railway crossing during a normal afternoon route. A freight train was already nearing the intersection, signaling continuously with its horn, as required by safety protocols. Despite the train driver reducing speed and issuing repeated sound warnings, the bus was still on the tracks when the freight locomotive reached the crossing. The impact pushed the bus aside, and several passengers were affected. Emergency teams responded quickly, and multiple individuals were transported to nearby hospitals for evaluation and care. The incident drew the attention of transportation authorities, who began reviewing the crossing's signage, visibility, and driver response to understand how a familiar route became hazardous. This event is a reminder that railway crossings require a mindset similar to entering a controlled zone. Every signal, horn, and visible cue must be treated as an immediate priority. Even when no physical barrier is present, drivers should approach slowly, assess both directions, and avoid crossing if there's any hesitation about the train's distance or speed. Small delays at crossings can prevent major incidents, especially when large vehicles are involved. Maintaining clear decision-making and respecting every warning signal is essential for everyone on board. On December 18, 2024, in Pecos, Texas, a freight train operated by Union Pacific was traveling through a highway railroad-grade crossing. A tractor-trailer combination carrying a heavy, oversized load was stopped on the tracks blocking the crossing. The train crew initiated emergency braking when they realized the obstacle, but at roughly 68 miles per hour, the train could not stop in time. The locomotive and the first 11 rail cars derailed. The derailed cars, including some loaded with intermodal shipping containers, struck a nearby building used as the town's chamber of commerce. Tragically, 2 railroad employees, the engineer and the conductor on board the train, lost their lives in the derailment. 3 others on the ground, including occupants of the building, sustained minor injuries and were treated at a local hospital. This incident highlights why oversized or heavy load vehicles should only cross railroad tracks when full clearance has been verified, ideally under permitted conditions or with an escort. Drivers must confirm there is enough space for the entire vehicle to clear the tracks, follow all required permits and guidelines, and never rely solely on signals or gates, as mechanical issues or overhanging loads can still create risks. In North Miami Beach, morning traffic was moving steadily near an active Brightline railway corridor. A passenger car approached a level crossing, the type equipped with signals designed to alert drivers of an approaching train. Witnesses nearby had already heard the Brightline train sounding its horn repeatedly as it moved through the area. The car entered the crossing just moments before the train reached the intersection. It's clear the train operator followed protocol, horn sounding, lights on, and maintaining controlled speed through the designated zone. Despite these warnings, the vehicle didn't fully clear the tracks in time. Within seconds, the train made contact with the rear portion of the car, sending it spinning away from the tracks. Emergency crews from North Miami Beach Fire Rescue were dispatched immediately. The driver, who was alone in the vehicle, was treated on scene and then transported to the hospital for further evaluation. The train remained operational, and no passengers aboard were reported injured. This incident emphasizes a crucial principle. Railway crossings require complete commitment before entering them. Unlike typical intersections, you cannot stop, pause, or adjust once you've moved onto the tracks. In Taiwan, on a morning in August 2023, a car driver, allegedly under the influence, attempted to cross a level railway crossing while a passenger train was passing. CCTV and eyewitness footage show the vehicle entering the crossing even as the train approached. The train was on schedule, and standard warning measures were in place: lights, bells, and the train's own horn. Despite that, the car collided with the side of the train's 4th carriage. The impact destroyed the car almost completely. Thankfully, the train passengers were unharmed, and the car's driver survived with only light injuries after being rushed to hospital. This accident underlines a vital rule: never enter a railway crossing if there is any sign of an oncoming train, especially if you may be impaired. Railway crossings aren't like regular intersections. Trains move fast, and their stopping ability is extremely limited. If you are not sure the track is completely clear, or if your judgment may be compromised, tiredness, alcohol, distractions, don't risk entering the crossing. In Celaya, Guanajuato, a truck-trailer combination attempted to cross a set of railway tracks. The crossing was marked, and as usual, the train approached with its horn sounding a clear warning that the tracks were about to be occupied. For reasons likely related to impatience or misjudgment, the driver of the heavy trailer proceeded onto the tracks anyway. Moments later, the freight train reached the crossing. The train crew applied the brakes, but given the train's speed and mass, it was unable to stop in time. The locomotive struck the trailer, dragging it along the tracks for several meters before coming to a halt. Witness recordings circulated quickly online, showing the trailer being hit and the force of the collision dislodging its cargo, damaging rail infrastructure and scattering debris across the road. Fortunately, according to official reports, the driver survived, and no pedestrians or third parties were seriously injured. The accident caused heavy material and infrastructure damage, but by some stroke of luck, there was no loss of life. This incident highlights the importance of never attempting to cross railway tracks with a heavy or oversized vehicle unless the driver has verified full clearance for the entire combination, including the trailer and cargo. Railway crossings must be treated with absolute caution because trains cannot stop quickly, and even a small miscalculation in speed, distance, or timing can lead to serious consequences. Drivers of large vehicles should always ensure the crossing is completely clear, avoid entering if a train is visible or if signals are active, and remember that train momentum gives them almost no ability to brake in time. Respecting railway signals and understanding the physics of heavy transport are essential steps that help prevent severe accidents and keep both drivers and train crews safe.